complain
bring the
about
files
this
up.
and that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Huh? No. What I'm saying is all the issues
I'm
it
saying
ain't
there's
happening
enough,
because the government's
I'm
closed.
saying there's enough blame to go around all across the board.
No. There's always blame in the
No, I'm
process
just
of
saying
politics. But we're strictly numbers on how it works. The Democrats have to vote yes. If they don't want to vote yes, then the government's going to be closed. The House sent it to the Senate. The Senate put it up for vote. They know they need this amount of number. If you don't, because you want this, you want that, all right, then you own it. Stand on it.
But
the problem with Hakeem, he's not standing on it.
Hakeem's in the House. You just said the
No,
Senate.
but he's the one talking about it. He's running his goddamn mouth. Schumer ain't saying shit. Schumer ain't said a goddamn thing about it.
Well, Hakeem ain't got nothing to do with what the Senate do.
No, but he's the one on TV talking about.
He ain't got no influence because Schumer ain't giving no comments, and they want to feed the base with what Hakeem gonna say because that's gonna set everybody else off on the other side.
Well, then Hakeem just needs to shut up.
They put a microphone in his face for a reason.
Yeah, then Hakeem needs to shut up.
But to blame Hakeem, you just said it passed in the House.
No, I'm not blaming Hakeem. Hakeem is the one running his goddamn mouth.
That's because they keep putting a microphone in his face.
Okay, then and he keep doing it like a dumbass.
This is Black Westchester Magazine's People Before Politics Sunday Rundown.
As elected servants of the people.
So let's get to the shutdown. You've blamed the Democrats, and to be clear, you did pass a so-called clear...
Not so-called, totally clean.
Keep the government funded for 7 months. They refused to vote for that, most of them, because they want to hold out for the Obamacare subsidies.
Well, no, we filed a clean CR, 24 pages in length, keep the lights on. They filed a dirty CR. What's in it? They want to reinstate free health care paid for by taxpayers to illegal aliens. That's $200 billion as part of it. They want to give money back to the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. They want to take $500 million from rural hospitals. And they want to engage in all sorts of spending on foreign projects around the globe. That is actually on paper. That's their kind of proposal. We can't do that.
Okay, so the Democrats did not vote for the clean funding bill. They have chosen to shut the government down to fight for the health care and the other items you mentioned. But let me ask you, why, as this is going on, why is the House not in session?
Well, first of all, we're fighting for health care as well, not just in word, but in deed. We put it in the one big beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut, real reforms to Medicaid to make it work better, to preserve the program, because we had illegal aliens receiving benefits. We had young able-bodied men who were not working, they don't have dependents, they were riding the wagon. We cleaned that up in our bill. In their counter-proposal, what Chuck Schumer is arguing for is he wants to reverse those reforms, which would be a terrible policy decision for the people.
But I'm actually asking a different question. I said, why is the House not in session? I mean, I covered day-to-day those previous shutdowns, including the one you mentioned in 2013. I recall there were House hearings during that shutdown about how President Obama was handling the shutdown.
Yeah.
Why is the House not in session as this is
The House did its job. Exactly a month ago today, on September 19th, we passed the clean resolution. The continued resolution would keep the lights on, keep the government working for the people. By the way, keep Border Patrol agents paid, our troops paid, air traffic controllers, all the rest, all the services that go to veterans and young women who need nutrition assistance for their infants. The Democrats, every single one of them, have now voted 11 times, except for 3 Democrats in the Senate. They voted 11 times to shut down the government and cease and halt all of those services and programs.
But I'm still understanding, why is the House not in session? You passed a 7-week temporary funding bill. Is that the entirety of the Republican agenda?
No, it is not. No, it is not. But I refuse to allow us to come back and engage in anything until the government's reopened, when the Democrats do the right thing for the people. They're playing politics, and we have to use every ounce of leverage we have to make sure they do the right thing. They have literally chosen, this is a true statement, you think about it, look at their votes and their actions. They have chosen restoring benefits by taxpayers to illegal aliens over paying our troops and our Border Patrol agents and TSA and all the rest. It's unconscionable.
I mean,
it's never been done before.
As you know, neither Medicaid nor the Obamacare subsidies can go to undocumented.
You know why? Because we got it signed into law July 4th, and they're trying to repeal it, Jonathan. That's the whole point.
But you were doing this 7-week extension to give you time to pass funding for the rest of the year.
That's right.
Why aren't you working on that now?
We are working on that. We don't have to be on the House floor to do it. Our appropriators are working around the clock. They have been. They're negotiating not just in our party, but across the aisle to get the next batch of appropriations bills ready to go. It's a great point. All we did was a simple CR. There's not a single Republican policy priority on the CR.
But there are no committee hearings on these budget bills. There are no votes on these budget bills.
Very important. Very important. The House has already passed the 12 appropriations bills through committee. They don't need a committee hearing to do that. We need to get them off the floor. But it's been stopped by the Democrats in the Senate. And why? Because Chuck Schumer is afraid that one of these Marxists is going to run against him in his next reelect, and he has to get political cover. When he did the right thing in March, and he voted for the nearly identical CR, he took massive heat from the far left. Many of the groups that were out there protesting yesterday, he can't face them again. This is plainly and simply a selfish decision on his part.
Also,
you guys, the Democrats are acting like terrorists, holding the American people hostage right now in order to get what you want. You want to just quickly respond to that?
Well, that type of language is reckless, it's irresponsible, and it's going to get someone killed. What do these folks not understand as it relates to the language that they continue
his hands is like
to
this.
use? We should be able to battle it out in the contest of ideas, as opposed to trying to use these extreme terms that have been unleashed on the American people from the very beginning of this presidency, and matter of fact, for a long period of time, by the current president and those sycophants who continue to do nothing more than rubber stamp his extreme agenda and hurt the American.
The Republicans, they are seizing on this clip, and I'll play it from your fellow top House Democrat Congresswoman Catherine Clark. Listen and watch this. This is what she said.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, you know, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leveraged times we have.
Republicans say this is an admission that Democrats are using the American people as political leverage during this shutdown. You want to respond?
Donald Trump is the president. Republicans control the House and the Senate. They've made the decision to shut down the government, and they are the ones who consistently have taken adverse actions, made clear that they want to hurt the American people during this shutdown that they've created, and they refuse to reopen the government because of their unwillingness to provide affordable health care to everyday Americans.
They have the control, and they have the House, the Senate, the White House, and all of that. But the countermeasure to what you're describing is what we saw play out today in the Senate, where you had 3 Senate Democrats vote in favor of the worker pay bill. Senator Ossoff of Georgia, Fetterman of Pennsylvania, and Warnock of Georgia. So how do you stay on message when the countermeasure to what you're doing now, which has been effective, you know, the messaging around health care, sort of leveling up what the impact of all this is having on real people out there. But now Republicans say, okay, I see you. I got one more for you. Hard bill after hard bill after hard vote after hard vote. How do Democrats message that and strategically work with that at the same time holding their ground?
Now, the Republicans are going to try to advance gotcha vote after gotcha vote after gotcha vote. But I think it's been extraordinary to see not just House Democrats, but House and Senate Democrats together standing up, unified, strong on behalf of the American people, because we know we're on the right side of issues that matter, and I expect to see that continuously.
We're talking about a continuing resolution to keep the government open and then going into the normal appropriations process. I mean, there was an election, and the Republicans were put in a position where they were able to pass the big, beautiful bill, or you call it the big, ugly bill, to then say, we don't like any of that, so we're going to shut down the government until you take back all the things that you duly passed through legislation. If Republicans had tried to do that to the Inflation Reduction Act or the any of the acts that Biden and that administration have passed, if they said, we're going to shut down the government because we don't like any of those things you did, we're going to not pay our military, we're going to, not allow the government to reopen until you do what we want. After an election where the American people put Democrats in power, you'd be going crazy. You'd be going crazy about using a shutdown of the government with a continuing resolution to get what you want just because you don't like what the Republicans did. It's not how it works. It's bad. It's bad precedent, and it's just clear. And you're talking about the House. you've already passed this. The Senate is who we're talking about, and they have a bill which will reopen the government right now with 5 more Democrats.
What is bad precedent is the Republican refusal to engage in bipartisan negotiations. What is bad precedent is the Republicans embarking on a my way or the highway approach from the very beginning of this Congress. Republicans control the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Joe, you're exactly right. So if the government shuts down, they've made the decision to shut the government down. And they can reopen it right now if they chose to, with a rule change in the Senate. But I just explained it. The reality is they want to keep the government closed. Cruelty from the very beginning of this administration has been the point. And the responsible thing to do is to sit down and negotiate a bipartisan path forward to address a very real healthcare crisis that's upon us right now. Open enrollment starts on November 1st.
Can you do those negotiations while the government is reopened? I think that's the offer that's been on the table. We did hear the House Speaker, Mike Johnson, talking about how, look, he passed a clean CR. There's not really much for him to politic in because there's nothing to take out. Any Republican pork that they pushed into this to take out of it to offer as a way of getting around this. Can you reopen the government and have these conversations if there's a willing party on the other side, which it sounds like there is if you talk to some of the Republicans who see this as an issue in their district as well?
Well, certainly Marjorie Taylor Greene has made clear that it's a very real issue. It's an issue that Republicans have ignored throughout this year, and it's an issue that needs to be addressed right now. Mike Johnson has made the representation, including at that White House meeting that we had last week, after Chuck Schumer and I reached out to demand that we have the conversation. Unfortunately, it took place literally a day before the government shut down because Republicans have refused to engage in bipartisan negotiations or even conversations up until this point. And our view is, what Johnson said is that health care is an irrelevant extraneous issue. No, it's not an extraneous issue. It's a central issue. And we need to deal with it right now. And we're willing to sit down and have that conversation. We want to reopen the government.
They're not going to fix this. That's a negotiation that is going to take a very long time. Employees, including the military, are not going to get paid on October 15th. Can you have these negotiations?
And that's an issue that we believe should. And that's an issue that we believe should be dealt with respect to our troops in a bipartisan way, in a manner that it has been dealt with in the past in previous shutdowns,
in the past, you've had appropriations
in
bills
October
that had already
of
been
2013.
For the right.
I'm talking about in October of 2013, where as a standalone issue, the military pay for our families and men and women in uniform was dealt with. That's what I'm making reference to. So who should get paid besides the military? You think the TSA agents should get paid? Where does the line stop for who gets paid and who doesn't? The law requires everyone to be paid, and unfortunately, Donald Trump has once again suggested that no one is going to get paid, which to me is consistent with the efforts to undermine the rule of law that we've seen from this administration from the very beginning. Listen, our position just remains clear. We just want to have a serious bipartisan discussion about reopening the government and enacting a spending agreement that meets the needs of the American people. And we.
Okay. AJ, make your comment.
There's a lot to unpack in this situation. And doing what we do, news, and how things are, how narratives are created. There's a lot of that going on both sides. So the Republicans saying that the Democrats shut down the government because they didn't get what they wanted and won't open it until you give them what they want, when the Republicans were also the minority party. There were shutdowns when they were fighting for like that is you when you don't have the presidency, you don't have the Senate, you don't have any of that, you don't have the votes. One of the ways of fighting for whatever it is that you're trying to fight for, and we're not talking about whether I think what they're fighting for is good or bad, but I'm just talking about fighting for your issues. Holding out until you get that is once you if you're not going to give it to them now when they're holding out, if they vote to open the government back up, you're definitely not going to get it. So that's the only way. And Republicans have done the same thing. There have been shutdowns when Democrats were in control and they were fighting for whatever it is that they were fighting for. So this is the way politics is being played these days. Both parties then try to make the other party look like it's their fault. The Republicans actually counted on the bad press and all of that the Democrats will fold by now, and they haven't. And now some of the
They don't care.
Yeah, listen.
No, you're missing a key point. I'm like, go ahead.
They will care. See, the government shutting down don't hurt Democrats, it hurts Americans. So there's Republicans that's going to be Republican counties, Republican states that are also going to be hurt. Those are the people that vote them in office. And when those people are hurting, they're going to be complaining. So that's when they will care.
Okay.
Because they don't care. They don't care what's going on. They don't care what they're. When you're that's when you're going to care.
Here's the problem. Here's the strategy problem that the Democrats are going to have to face. Number one, you gave total authority to the executive office to do whatever they want to do. Total authority. When there's a shutdown, all the authority goes to the White House. Now, some of them people will never be coming back. They will never be coming back. And that's law. Let me finish.
Trump has said if they don't
Let me finish. You can't have a king's rally, then shut the government down and literally by law give him the power. That's what they just did. They gave the executive office the power to change the departments while the government is closed. And technically, yes, both parties have pulled it. Absolutely. Both parties have pulled it. But this is a different era when you're looking at a different administration that's looking to cut. It's not a political play if you have a lot of fat in the CR and stuff like that. Now I purposely MSNBC, CNN, CNBC, there's no fat. There's no fat to negotiate. If you're going to hold out, you have to, both parties have to have a bag of goodies. If there's no goodies in the CR, what are you stopping the government for? What are you stopping the government for?
To take the speaker on his word either. So
no, it's a clean, dude. You just heard the press. It's a clean CR. It's just to keep the government open. You heard the press. You heard all of them. Clean CR. Clean CR means there's no fat in it. It's just to keep the government open. That's it. So they could go back in committee and argue all that stuff in committee. But in the process, you did that. Now you gave all the power. You gave all the power to the president. Now a lot of people what they don't understand is why do they need the Democrats vote? Because the Senate operates different than the House. Even though they might, and what he said was true, but it was also BS too. Yes, they control the Senate, but to pass a CR, you need the Democrats vote. So you need a certain number.
There's they don't have enough numbers by themselves.
Exactly.
They need at least 5 or is it 5 or more Democrat votes?
I had the numbers too,
but
I didn't write it down.
Democrats that voted yes, and they needed 5 more. So that might be 8%.
Right. They needed 5 more because Rand Paul, as always, votes no. He never votes yes. Right. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, dude, like it's okay. Well, what happened when Chuck Schumer when Chuck Schumer got the people to do it? What happened? He got his ass handed to him. And he did the right thing. He literally did the right thing. Schumer got his ass handed to him. It's not a bill. See, people think it's a bill. It's not a bill. It's just to keep the government open. And and maybe a Democrat or a Republican can explain, why can't you just pass a goddamn bill in January to keep the goddamn government open till December or till the next January? I don't understand why you have to keep doing that. It doesn't make no goddamn sense.
Yeah, because
it doesn't make sense.
Back in the days, we didn't have this over and over and over. So you vote and you only vote. So like you vote now, so you'll keep the government open till February. And then in February, you got to go through this again, and then you keep it open till
now they're doing it like every 4 months. Now it's like every 4 months. That doesn't make any sense. Regardless of the fact, Republicans or Democrat, it doesn't make any sense. But from a strategic standpoint, it's going to be crazy because you got someone that doesn't care in the White House. He doesn't give a fuck.
So you're saying your solution is, since he doesn't care, do whatever they want to do. Just give
No, it's not do whatever you want to do. You're not going to change the health care in a CR. Period. A CR is not made to change legislation. It's made to just move the money and keep the government open. That's my point. You can't change it in a CR. You can't do it. Because guess what? It's going to have to go to committee. It's going to have to go back to the finance committee. It's going to have to go back to whatever committee. You're not going to get it changed in a CR. Government doesn't work that way.
Well, the longer there's a shutdown, both sides going to feel it.
Well, both sides going to feel it, but what they're doing is stupid. Come on, man. We're talking about people not getting paid, and you're talking about something that you can't change in a CR. Not after they done passed the law to change it earlier this year. And that wasn't a CR. It went through committee. It got voted out of committee. It went through the floor. It got voted on the floor. Like, we have to really have serious conversation because people are not getting paid.
So I think everybody doesn't understand what a CR is. So
I'm going to read it. I got it right here. I got it right here, AJ. I got it right here. A clean CR means there's no extra policy riders.
I said, what is a CR? You already missed it.
No. Well, a CR.
What a CR is. Okay.
A CR is a continuing resolution. It's a short-term spending bill Congress passes to keep the government funded when the full federal budget hasn't been approved. When lawmakers can't agree on the budget before the deadline, a CR keeps agencies open at the same time, at the same funding levels as before, basically hitting pause on new spending to avoid a shutdown. Now, a clean CR, which everybody was saying it, means that there's no extra policy riders or partisan add-ons, just temporary extension of funding. It's supposed to be the simplest way to keep the lights on while both sides negotiate a longer-term deal. That's the definition. That's the definition of it. So they have to, so it's a clean, you heard all of them. And the only people that pushed back was at the end. at Squawk Box, which is a financial channel. When they talk finances, they really push back because it's a clean CR. So you can't say you can't negotiate it then. "4 years under Biden." In fact, the wording is from the Biden administration. Well, at the end of the day, bro, that's crazy. Listen, I get they want to fight for health care. I get it. But you're going to have to work across the aisle to do it. Because you don't control the House or the Senate. That's what politics used to be. When I was a union delegate, they worked across the aisle to make things happen. And let me tell you something. The most disgusting thing I ever saw was 2 black men, Jamal Bowman and homeboy from Florida. You have 2 black men, 2 congressmen, 2 great men. And these Negroes sitting here talking about like they gangs, whose party is better. Instead of discussing how can we work together as black men to make sure there's good legislation for black America. These Negroes is down there talking about whose party is better. Like they both in a goddamn gang.
Well, you saw Jesse Ventura's book, right? Did you like this?
No, and I just wrote one. I'm getting ready to put that up. I just wrote one. But that's the mentality. And we got to get rid of that, man, especially as black people, because we barely get these positions. Whether you're Republican or Democrat, y'all Negroes need to work across the aisle, because at the end of the day, you're black. You're black. And let's not be foolish like there was never black Republicans. We got to get it together, bro. But this right here is ridiculous. People are starved. People going to starve because they're worried about, they're trying to do something that a bill was passed. It got passed. That's what happens when you're not in power. You got to work across the aisle. You got to get shit done. Now we at the point that nobody talks to each other.
No, that's what they're trying to do. Whether you agree or not, they're like, yo, if you don't give us this, we're not going to give you.
There's no passing a bill on a CR.
No, it's saying if you don't give us the vote, if you don't give us what we need on this, we're not going to give you the votes you need.
Fine. Then it is what it is.
And like I said, both parties have been doing that forever. So
no, it is what it is. But here is a clean CR. They can't argue about that. They can't say, look at this CR. It's $3,000 billion going to whatever the Republicans want in that. Okay, I get it. Then you negotiate. But if it's a clean CR, there's nothing there. There's nothing to negotiate. Let's just keep the government open and let's go into committee and debate.
Negotiation is their votes that they need.
Okay, well then fine. Then keep the motherfucker closed. Now listen, bro. Keep it closed. Because you're negotiating something that's not there. That's not there. It sounds good, but the reality is bullshit. It sounds good. It really sounds good. But the reality is bullshit. They voted 11 times. So it is what it is. Now the shit is closed. But we have to have that conversation. You worry about the people, then go into committee and debate like fucking adults. That's what people voted for you to do. Not this shit. And look, Republican or Democrat. Nobody voted for you to do bullshit and showboat. While people are suffering, guess what? They still get their paychecks. Huh? Apac Shakur, he still get his paycheck. He still get paid. So his family ain't suffering.
Everybody don't know who the hell you're talking about. Everybody don't know that joke.
Hakeem Jeffries. We call him, Charlemagne the God started that, call him APAC Shakur.
Yeah, Charlemagne the God. We don't call him that. It's
no, but look, Hakeem Jeffries still get a check. Mike Johnson still get a check. Everybody that voted no still get a check. And you know how it goes. First hired, last hired, first fired. Black people gonna suffer the most. Again. They still get paid, bro. See, and this is what I don't like about politics, because people make decisions and they don't have no consequences from their decisions when it affects the masses of the people.
I said that before. I've been saying that for years. If you're going to shut down the government, that should shut down their checks too. And if they
Ray Jones said Johnson gave up his check.
Okay, I gotta look that up. I don't know whether, but if all of them were not getting checks, the government would be open quicker.
No, and we believe that too. It would never be a shutdown if they didn't get paid either.
But I'm saying even if it got to a point of a shutdown, after that first check get missed, there'd be some.
But it's a bunch of hypocrisy. Because you sit here, you talk about no kings. And you shut the government down. There's
two things. So the people did the no kings thing. The elected officials wasn't out protesting. The elected hold on. The congressmen are the ones not voting. All of those congressmen wasn't out.
Wait, AJ, they support the no kings rally. So if you're supporting that rally, and then you vote you shut the government down, which by default gives the king more power. By default. By law. Give the king more power, then you're fighting against what you're saying.
John Jones, what I said was all of the elected officials who voted no were not out protesting. That's what I said. Not that there wasn't any politicians. Let's not play with my words now. And you know me better than that, so stop.
Well,
I didn't say there wasn't one. I said all of the ones that voted no, those wasn't the one out there protesting. If there was one or two out there, maybe, but all of them wasn't. So stop that. Don't play with my words. This is me. Don't play with me like that.
No, I don't think all of them was out there, but
you just said yes, they were. AJ, the politicians were out there. I never said all of them weren't out there. I just said a dude from Connecticut was out there. So you're telling all of the Democrats that voted no, you're going to say they was there because one dude from Connecticut. Say one dude from Connecticut. Don't say all the politicians. I said they wasn't the ones who voted no. All of them were not the ones out there protesting. Your response is, yeah, the dude from Connecticut, that's one dude. So let's stop playing with words and move on. Go ahead, Damon. Don't play with me.
But it's a little hypocrisy, right? And that's all I'm saying. And that's because technically that's what they did. But at the end of the day, bro, it's going to be bad for everybody. But people are talking. And when they examine the bill and they see that it's just to keep the government open, you got to explain yourself. You can't sit here and say that, Trump, the Republicans with this and with that. But he does. But still, moving a CR, they're going to need more votes. They're going to need Democrats to vote. And he knows that. But to use that for something that needs to be in committee and debated and voted in committee, moved out of committee, we all watch, it's only a bill, and I'm sitting in a Capitol Hill. That's the process. If they want to change what was voted on and passed earlier this year, that's the process, not a CR.
Right. So I will only say this, and I said this in the beginning. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm not saying I agree or disagree. But when you have no power and that group that is in charge needs you to do something, And that is the only thing you can do. I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm not saying whether they should have did it or not. I'm saying you use what you use, and everybody has done that. So I understand it's a different time, and you keep saying hypocrisy and politics run together like peanut butter and jelly these days. So there's hypocrisy all over the place. So
No,
I'm
I
just
know,
saying,
I know, but
I'm just saying,
it's not.
when you can't win because you don't have the numbers, and you can do one little thing, whether it makes sense or not, you hold it and you do that. That's the only thing. What else can they do? They can't do that. They can't argue. They don't have the numbers.
You know what? You know what they could do? You know what they could do? They can negotiate.
Negotiate what? Then people don't want to negotiate.
Yeah. No. Well, dude, how do you know they don't want to negotiate?
They don't.
How do you?
They don't
No,
want
no.
these.
They've been. Listen. They've been to the White House. He said they met with him, right? And they didn't like what they were bringing. So you bring something. You have to have a bag of goodies. That's what I was, listen, that's what I was taught in negotiations. You got to bring something. You just can't be defiant, not when you ain't in the power. You have to bring something. Then you got to figure it out, bro. That's not going to do it. Making the whole world suffer, making everybody else suffer is not going to work in the long run. And we'll see. We'll have this conversation.
I don't disagree that this is not going to work.
It's not going to work in the long run
for nobody. But
because the news, the mainstream media, is starting to have the conversation. You could have held out, but you held out for some things that wasn't. Come on.
Good evening, Kemi Poe. How you doing, sister?
And that's the problem. It's gonna listen. It is what it is. And we'll see in midterms, because all this is jockeying for midterm election. We know that. But at the end of the day, it's still a clean CR. I really could understand if it had all type of Republican bullshit in it. Hey, Kimmy, what's happening? I could really understand that. And I will get that. But if it's just to keep the government open and fight your fight.
I'm just speaking from perspective.
I mean, look, and we saw what happened to Schumer. And he did the right thing. At least he thought. Then he started getting primary challenges and all this other stuff going on and all this. Come on, man. Like we just, it is what it is. Good luck to everybody. Because at the end of the day, somebody's going to be at fault. And if the mainstream media is swinging the way it's swinging now and having that type of conversation, is going to be bad for the Democrats in the long run.
I'd say it's going to be bad for everybody.
It's going to be bad for everybody because everybody's feeling it, right? It's going to be bad for everybody.
What I'm saying, and I'm just like, people look at issues how they affect them. So we hear all that, everything. But when you in that little town in that red state or whatever, and your people and your family's not eating and your family's not getting a check, you're yelling at your elected official because they,
do you really, AJ?
You're yelling at your elected official. What?
Do you really think that redneck MAGA in that poor town is going to blame the Republicans?
You're going to blame your elected official. You do something. You do something to fix this shit.
You really think?
Okay.
Do you really think they're going to give heat? But do you really think that they're going to that MAGA person, that poor white MAGA person?
Let me slow down. Every person in a red state is not MAGA.
No, 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 no.
So
That's not what I said.
No.
No.
And I never used the word MAGA. You did. Wait, stop.
I'm using it.
But you didn't. I didn't use the word MAGA.
No, right.
I said
I'm saying it.
So yes, but you're not as what I was saying. What I was saying is for those in those red states, everybody in a red state is not MAGA. So I never used the word MAGA. And I'm not talking about those.
I'm saying because the base of the Republican is MAGA. The base is MAGA. Do you really think that they're going to?
I'm not answering because that has nothing to do with what I've said. That has nothing. You're making a point that has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
Right, but I'm asking the question. Do you really think
that the MAGA base? You're using that to change from what I'm saying?
No,
I'm not answering that question because it doesn't deal with what I'm saying. There are people that are not MAGA, in your opinion. I'm not talking about them. Everybody is not a zealot on both sides.
I never said everybody. I asked a question.
And I'm saying there are people.
And I agree.
And those people, when they're hurting enough, the person they're calling, they're not calling Hakeem and Schumer. They're calling that motherfucker that they voted for. That's who they're calling. That's who they will say. Whatever they say in the press, they can blame whoever they want. But the person they're calling is their representative saying, "Yo, fix it. I don't care what you got to do."
And what was the and I can't even remember the dude's name that created the slogan. If you make your followers think that their condition, who Rothschild, whoever said that their condition is the blame for other people. And that's my point. You could think all that want, but they're going to blame other people, just like the Democrats blame the Republicans, the black folks. Our condition is the game works on both sides, my brother. That's the game. So if you really think
you're saying one or the other, I'm saying both things are true. You're saying it's like it's one or the other, and that's not true. Both things are true. People are going to feel how you feel, and people are going to feel like I feel. Both things are true. We live in a world where two things can't be true. It got to be this or that. This is not a this or that situation. That's what's wrong with America now. Everything has to be this or that. It can't be two things are true. So you're not hearing what I'm saying. What I'm saying is going to happen. What you're saying is going to happen too.
And if you think those red states are voting a Democrat and it's crazy.
I'm not talking about. Stop asking me about shit.
I said red. I didn't say racist. I said red. Them red states gonna stay red. Maybe they get mad at this person. They put another red person in there.
Say they wouldn't turn Democrat. Again, you're saying things I never said.
No. I never said. I made a statement. I made a statement.
What I said.
I made a statement, my brother.
Yeah, but I'm not. That's not what I said.
I never said you said it.
But you're responding to me. But that's your response to me.
No. I'm making a statement. You're taking it as a response. I'm making a statement.
If I said something, you go, no, it ain't. These people ain't going to do that. That's a response. Dude, come on, stop playing with words. There's people who are going to blame and hold their elected official accountable. Yes, they may get another person, another Republican in place. I never said nothing about switching red to blue or nothing like that. But when they're hurt enough, they're going to call the person that they voted for to put in office. Because that's who they got it. Nobody else they can call. Who else can they call?
And I never said you wasn't wrong. I never said you was wrong.
When I said both things are true.
I never said you wasn't wrong.
What I'm saying, but I said both things are true, not one or the other. What you're saying is people gonna feel that way, but what I'm saying is people gonna feel that too. If the demo agrees to open the government and tries to negotiate the bill and swears the Arizona lady in, don't release the files, what's next?
What files?
I think we're talking Epstein files, I guess.
Well, the Epstein's files, they already voted to release some of the files, but the government's closed.
But
the House already voted to release some of the files. The government's closed. So if the Democrats
that might not be coincidental either.
If the Democrat, well, who's keeping it closed?
Everybody.
Who's keeping it closed? If they want it open, get 6 Democrats to get it open and release the files. Not everybody. You can't, because the process is not everybody. It goes to the House. They need a certain amount of Democrats to keep it open, to pass the CR. So it's not everybody. At this point, it's not everybody. It's not everybody. It's the Senate. And they need 5 or 6 Democrats to vote yes.
And again, to make your point, what you said about elections, that's because the Republicans don't have enough numbers to do it by themselves. So they can't run around and like, fuck you, because we still need you. And that's
okay. So you can't complain that the files ain't coming out. You can't complain about this.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Huh? No. What I'm saying is all the issues.
I'm saying
because the government's closed.
There's enough blame to go around all across the board.
No. There's always blame in the process of politics. But we're strictly numbers on how it works. The Democrats have to vote yes. If they don't want to vote yes, then the government's going to be closed. The House sent it to the Senate. The Senate put it up for vote. They know they need this amount of number. If you don't, because you want this, you want that, all right, then you didn't own it. Stand on it. But the problem with Hakeem, he's not standing on it.
Hakeem's in the House. You just said the
no,
Senate.
but he's the one talking about it. He's running his goddamn mouth. Schumer ain't saying shit. Schumer ain't said a goddamn thing about it.
Well, Hakeem ain't got nothing to do with what the Senate do.
No, but he's the one on TV talking about.
He ain't got no influence because Schumer ain't giving no comments, and they want to feed the base with what Hakeem gonna say, because that's gonna set everybody else off the other side.
Well, then Hakeem
we put a microphone in his face for a reason.
Yeah, then Hakeem
But to blame Hakeem, you just said it passed in the House.
No, I'm not blaming Hakeem. I'm not. But Hakeem is the one running his goddamn mouth.
That's because they keep putting a microphone in his face.
Okay, then and he keep doing it like a dumbass.
Well, we can.
So whose fault is that?
We could.
Whose fault is that?
I'm not saying he should be arguing. I'm just saying he's not. It's not him keeping. He's not.
No. It's not him.
And he doesn't have no influence, and he has no influence.
Well, then he should shut the fuck up.
That's your opinion.
And he should. No, well, that is because you just said all that, right? And if you don't have nothing to do with it, you ain't even in the Senate, but you on TV all the goddamn time. Right? And you don't want to stand 10 toes down and say.
This is Black Westchester Magazine's People Before Politics Sunday Rundown. You can check out the full show listed on our YouTube channel. Don't miss us every Sunday at 6 p.m. Live. It's going to be Blacktastic.